Welcome to Miyconst hardware. This is probably the first time I review an entire device and not a single piece of hardware. In this case, I have got this tablet DERE T30 Pro from geekbind.com. They sent it to me for a review and probably I will miss something, probably I will forget to mention about something. Nevertheless, I have collected all my main points, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this device so you can understand if you shall or shall not buy it. But first, let's quickly cover the technical specification. All the details you will see on your screen. I will mention that the tablet size is 13 inches and we have screen resolution 2160 by 1440p, so it's almost 2K. Then we have a pathetic quad-core Celeron inside, 16 gigs of RAM and 1TB SSD. This is all operated by Windows 11 operating system. The rest I will cover throughout my review, and the first point in my list is the screen. The screen is an IPS panel with a 60Hz refresh rate. With a resolution of 2160 by 1440p, you do not see any grains and you do not see any pixels. It's very pleasant and very nice. Still, I'm disappointed with the glossy finish because it reflects basically everything. Nevertheless, the brightness is good enough and I did not have any issues using the laptop outside and inside. For my daily driver I have a 144Hz 4K monitor, so I'm probably spoiled and probably that's why I feel like this panel is a bit too slow and I wish they would install 90Hz or even 120Hz monitor in this tablet. The next point on my list is the touch screen, and overall the touch screen is okay, you can use it, but still if you compare the touch screen to iPads, iPhones or Samsung phones or other Android phones, it's just not good enough. Sometimes it would not register your touch, sometimes the touch would be registered in a wrong place, and especially when using Windows 11 and some of the UI elements are tiny and you need a very precise touch, it might be very frustrating and very annoying to use the touch screen compared to your phone or your iPad or Android tablet. To be fair, I have to say that I also had a Dell XPS notebook with a touch screen, and that touch screen felt even worse than this one. Thus, I'm not sure if it is a touchscreen's problem or it is Windows 11 is simply not touchscreen friendly. The next point is the keyboard, and even though it looks kinda nice and it feels kind of quality made, it is simply not good enough. The typing experience is very unpleasant, and if you're working with a text where you need to edit or type a lot of text, you will be frustrated and you will produce lots of mistakes. Sometimes the keystrokes are not registered, sometimes you're hitting a wrong key, and simply the typing experience is not good. The keyboard is okay for basic input, but not more than that. Sadly, the touchpad is not any better either. Unlike the modern touchpads where you have a single button under the touchpad and sensors which would identify location of your finger, this touchpad has two physical buttons underneath and they meet right in the middle. So if you try to press right in the middle, both of the buttons, left mouse button and right mouse button, will be clicked and you will get unpredictable behavior. Moreover, the click is very hard and very deep, so when you're actually trying to click, for example to make a drag and drop or to make multi-selection of your files, the mouse actually moves a bit and your click is registered not where you would want it to be. Thus, I would say that the touchpad is even worse than the keyboard. You can use it for basic operations, but not than that. You cannot use it as a replacement for your mouse, and you cannot use it for some sort of a productivity tool. What is even more frustrating is that the touchpad is located very close to the keyboard, and the keyboard is small and narrow, and when you type on the keyboard, you constantly touch the touchpad with your thumb or with your hand, and the touchpad registers a click, and the mouse moves around all over the place. So you were typing in one line, and then suddenly you're typing in another line. That's very frustrating and very annoying. A few words about the docking station itself. The station is heavy enough to hold the tablet with no problems, but it cannot replace you with a standard laptop. The docking station can be used as a stationary location for your tablet, where you connect it once and keep it there. You cannot unfold it fully, and folding it also very annoying. Then, if you would want to remove the tablet and put it back onto the docking station, you also need to make sure that the back contacts are matching one to ensure that the keyboard and touchpad are actually working, and that's a very tedious process. That's why I would say that if you want to use the docking station, you just put the tablet there and keep it like that. You cannot replace your standard laptop or standard notebook with this tablet plus the docking station. Battery life is the next point on my list. According to the specification, we have here 38,000 mAh, but Windows for some reason reports that we have here 50,000. I don't know what is true and what's false, but under my usage, when I watch YouTube videos with the maximum brightness and maximum volume through the speakers, this tablet lasts for about 4 hours. This battery is also enough to run Cinebench R23 tests for about 2 hours. If it's too little or if it's too much, you are the one to decide. In my opinion, this is too little. For this kind of device, I would like to stay away from the charger for at least 6 or 8 hours. The tablet has 4 USB ports in total, 2 USB Type-A ports on one side and 2 USB Type-C ports on the other side. We also have an audio jack and a power jack. All of the ports are working with no problems, and the first USB Type-C port can also be used as a Thunderbolt connection for an external monitor. So you can use such kind of a dongle which transfers USB Type-C Thunderbolt to a display port, and you will get an external monitor. Unfortunately, this cheap dongle supports only up to 2K or 2560 by 1440p, so I could not test if this tablet would support 4K. But 2K or 2560 by 1440p surely work through this dongle. Now it's time to cover this stylus or stylus pen. The idea is that you can use this pen and the touchscreen on the tablet for painting and handwriting. Unfortunately, I was not able to achieve neither of the tasks. Painting and handwriting is a very imprecise. It's next to impossible. And if you would like to actually write something, you need to sit there and follow each line very strictly and try to input it exactly the way it's supposed to be. It's just not worth it. It's time consuming, it's frustrating, and I just don't understand why you would even bother with this pen if it works so badly. Additionally, to turn the pen on and off, you need to touch here on the top. So you touch it once, it turns on, you touch it again, it turns off. And that in my case is also a problem, because when I write or when I paint, I move the pencil or the pen like this up and down, and then sometimes it would register a touch to the back side of the pen and it just turns itself off. So you are writing or painting, and then accidentally you just touch your hand and the pen turns off and you can't finish your writing or can't finish your painting. That's very frustrating. And one last thing is that this rubber thingy covers USB Type-C port for charging, and unfortunately it's not connected in any way. It's very easy to get it lost, and then you will get an empty hole or empty port in this pen which will collect all sorts of dusts. So as you have guessed it, I think this stylus or stylus pen is absolutely useless, and I have no clue why it was even made for this particular tablet or laptop. It's time to cover the cameras. Here we have two cameras, one from the front and another one from the back. So the front camera has 720p resolution and a maximum 30 fps. Unfortunately, the quality is rather poor, and I would not suggest it for anything than a basic video call inside your classroom or inside your work meeting. And even for that, I would argue that the quality is not good enough, because even your phone has a much better camera. The back camera is not any better. For video recording we have 1080p at 30 fps, and for photos we have only 1440p. But the problem is that the quality is just horrible. The autofocus is constantly trying to shift focus from one object to another object. The stabilizer doesn't work at all, and the video recording turns out to be just unwatchable and unacceptable. Photos are not any better either. If you have shaky hands or if you happen to move slightly while taking a picture, the picture will be blurry and the content is basically unusable. Unfortunately, these problems persist under sunlight and artificial light, so it's not the lighting problem, it's just terrible quality of these cameras. And honestly, I don't even understand why would you bother to install such bad cameras in a device if they are not usable either way. Microphone unfortunately is another disaster. Maybe it works okay and maybe it records some sounds, but this DERE T30 Pro laptop or tablet has a small fan inside, and even though that fan is almost not audible and you do not hear it even under stress test, the microphone is located right next to the fan, so the microphone catches up the fan really loudly. All of your recordings are getting up spoiled because it catches the fan, and that fan is rather loud for the microphone. So what do we have? The cameras are unusable and the microphone is also unusable. If the cameras and the microphone are bad, maybe the speakers are good. Unfortunately, no. When using the speakers for YouTube or audiobook listening, I find it hard to distinguish speech. I do not have perfect hearing, but compare this DERE T30 tablet with the Apple iPad, I can hear clear difference. Apple iPad is way much better. Even a simple cell phone has a better speaker than this DERE T30 Pro laptop. I recorded a simple demonstration using my Samsung phone, which doesn't have the best microphone, but it is still good enough to understand the difference between this DERE T30 Pro and Apple iPad. Finally, the last thing I need to cover is the performance. Here we also have a disappointment on top of disappointment. The pathetic Celeron N5095A has only 4 cores with a maximum turbo frequency of 2.9 GHz. The CPU is not capable of handling any modern tasks, yet you can use it for simple office tasks, you can use it for online browsing, but that's it. 16 gigs of memory do not help either, and the memory speed and the memory latency is not the best. The SSD drive is a standard cheap Chinese SATA SSD, it's not a quick fast NVMe SSD. So we have what we have, and if you really badly want to play some games, then your last resort would be Prince of Persia, Dune 2, or maybe the Snake game. I guess now it's time for some sort of a conclusion, but I find it really hard to understand what this device is for, and even more, I don't understand why Chinese sent me this device for a review. Maybe they thought that since they promised me 20 euros for each sold DERE T30 laptop, I will tell how good it is and people will rush buying it, but it is what it is. Of course, I have sent all my review details back to Geekbine asking for some feedback. Maybe I have got a defective unit, maybe they have a better one which I can retest and correct some of the problems, some of the mistakes, but after a while they just admitted they don't have anything to say, they don't have anything to answer, and they just ignored me. Now they do not answer my emails, they do not answer my messages, and I assume I'm not getting any more products from Geekbine for a review. Nevertheless, even though this product has so many flaws and I do not recommend buying it under most of the circumstances, I see two key advantages of this DERE T30 Pro laptop or tablet. First, it is a lot of cheap storage. We have 1TB SSD, and if you look for Apple iPad with 1TB of storage, it's gonna cost you a lot. And the second one is the Windows operating system. In most cases it will be rather negative than positive, but in some niche cases where you have some old software which you need to run under Windows, this is a must-have. So in those cases where you must have Windows and you need lots of cheap storage and you need a portable device, then DERE T30 Pro might be the device for you. In all other cases, I recommend staying away from this device and pick something better from Android or Apple alternatives. And with this I have to say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, I hope I have helped someone and I hope it was interesting. Bye for now.